Day number one. I am Jacob Rupp. I am a coach for dads and husbands, dudes essentially, and I'm a rabbi, so I try to bring in some Jewish sources as well. I want to talk today about the idea of patience and anger. Granted, that's a huge topic. What I want to do is just go straight to the heart of the issue of how do you overcome it and how do you use it to serve you. Now, interestingly enough, we use our emotions and our relationships with people in a way that we try to get what we want. So even if we're not conscious of it, when we are involved in a situation with a person, we have an end goal of what we want. The question that we should be asking ourselves is that end goal actually going to be achievable? So for example, when you're getting angry, when you're getting stressed out, you are actually looking for something, right? Again, I am completely a mess and completely imperfect. So, if anyone's, don't feel bad at all I'm good giving advice, I guess you could say. When I get really stressed out, or when I get really negative, I'm like, oh man, my life's not working out the way it is. What I'm looking for in the relationship with my wife is I'm looking for her to be like, oh, it's going to be great, you're fantastic. So what I'm looking for is reassurance. So my pessimism, my negativity is a cry for reassurance. Where does that come from? Interesting enough for me. So my mom was always like pouring like positive reinforcement on me, and she had a very different kind of a way of relating to the world than my wife does. And I got married to my wife, so but my natural state is when I'm stressed out, I'm looking for it's all going to be okay, you're wonderful, you're amazing, you're fantastic. But what comes out is anger and desperation and frustration. And so what would be more effective would be to say, I would just like you to say that I'm great, because that helps to get the end goal of what I want. And when I'm feeling, unsure of myself, and again, that's even more profound question that you could ask is, well, do I even need someone else to give me that kind of reinforcement, or could I simply get that reinforcement from myself? And that was a really fundamental life change that I experienced myself, because we are aware that there are these voices that are always going through our heads, that are creating the stories that we are always telling ourselves. Where do you see that? Whenever you make a mistake, what do you say to yourself about yourself? So if you make a mistake, you're like, I'm an idiot, or I knew it, or God, I'm so stupid. So whenever you start to share those kind of thoughts, that's actually what your internal dialogue is saying to yourself. And again, if you had someone following you around, again, if your spouse would ever say this to you, if anyone around you would ever be as mean to you as you are to yourself, you would punch them in, not God forbid, right? But you would freak out. But what we oftentimes do is we tell ourselves these negative ideas and these negative thoughts, and that creates a pattern by which we sort of need others to reassure us, or we need other things to reassure us. We need money to reassure us. We need, all this public accolade. Maybe we should start to realize, think to ourselves, I'm not feeling good right now. I'm not feeling very positive. What do I need? What do I have to change about myself and my personality? Or maybe I just need to hear, you're great. So tell yourself, you're great. I sit in the mirror and I smile at myself sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that, right? When I'm doing push-ups, of which I love doing, right? It used to be if I couldn't get the number of push-ups I wanted to get, I would tell myself, you suck, you're fat, you're an idiot, right? Now what I tell myself is, come on, push it, you got it, you can do it. And that actually feeds a positive cycle of relating to yourself. So when you're in a situation of being stressed out, the first and most important thing you can try to figure out is, why am I, acknowledge your thought, right? I'm stressed out. I'm angry. Again, most of us don't even stop to think, like, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling freaked out? Am I feeling desperate? Am I feeling angry? I would go into a health diatribe right now, but I'll say that for something else. But, ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Next, what do I need to get out of this rut? And then, what relationship do I need to go to or to get that thing I'm needing? My kids are running around screaming. Will screaming at them make it easier? My wife will always tell me, no, it doesn't make it easier, because that's adding stress to the situation, right? What I really want is for them to go to bed. So I have to figure out, how do I incentivize them to go to bed? So the concept is, identify what you're feeling. Ask yourself, what do I need to get out of that environment? Maybe you just need to go sit down and relax in a different room. And then act based on what you want, not necessarily on what your natural inclination can do. It's super, super difficult at first. So literally the first step you have to do is just to stop and ask yourself, what am I feeling? And the amazing thing is, and I want to end on this idea, is when you start to ask yourself, when you feel yourself getting emotional, what am I feeling? You have just created a distance between you and the emotion. And in that slot, you can actually completely change how you act. So the call to action, if I could, is to challenge you, if you'd like, when you start to get stressed out, stop and say, how am I feeling right now? And I would like literally just like put in the comments, like, how does this, like, what happened? Did you actually do this? How difficult was it? How many times did you have to get like angry or freaked out or frustrated before you thought to yourself, like, you know, how do I feel right now? Again, very simple. How do I feel right now? Identify that, realize that that emotion is not you necessarily, and that you are in control, not it controlling you. Have a great day.